All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good day today. Well, it is week 2 for the Outdoor Vitals 100-mile challenge, and got about 11 miles planned for a hike, about 8 today, and then 3 or 4 tomorrow, so maybe closer to 12. But getting out tonight for an overnight out here in Morgan Monroe State Forest again, working on the Low Gap Trail. Been here a bunch, shot a lot of videos here, but I haven't done the whole loop for quite a while. So this section of it, I haven't been on in a while. It's kind of a fun little walk, just rolling up and down hills. But we're about 1.5 miles in, so I'll just do some filming throughout. Got some new gear to test on this trip, because that's what I needed, is to buy more stuff. But you see the fancy new Outdoor Vitals Nebo Windbreaker, which I'll talk a little bit about more when I get stopped. But 4 ounces for a windbreaker. I've, for the longest time, just hiked in my sun hoodies. If I was chilled, would just throw my rain jacket on, which works, but you work up a sweat pretty quick. So it's hard to stay comfortable, and you end up stopping to take it off. Then you get too cold if you stop, so you put it back on, and it's just kind of a pain. So this thing, 4 ounces, it's much more breathable than a rain jacket. It's pretty comfortable. I've been wearing it the whole time, moving pretty good. I've covered off 1.5 miles already, and I mean, I can feel I've built up a little bit of heat, but I don't feel anywhere near as clammy or sweaty as I would in my rain jacket. So I'm a fan of this. Also got some new shoes, which I'll try to get here. I don't know if that worked or not, but I'll show them later. But switched, kind of hurt me a little bit to switch from the Ultras. I've been in Ultras for the last 3 years, but the last week I started to get some heel pain about 4 or 5 miles in, and it's odd for me because I've never really had that problem. I mean, I work on my feet retail in dress shoes all day long, and I'll walk, depending on the day, 6 to 10 miles just at work for 8 to 10 hours. So being on my feet is not anything that's unusual, but I've never had a problem in my dress shoes. So it just was kind of weird. So I went to Runner's Forum here in Greenwood, which I'm sure they're around, at least in Indiana, I know they're around, and talked to the guys there, and he, suggested trying something that wasn't zero drop. Sometimes the zero drop can affect your heel, the tendons in there, plantar fasciitis kind of stuff. So I thought, I'll give it a shot. So I got some Brooks Cascadia 16’s and tried them out. Nice thing about this place, I can come out here and hike around in them. Even if I get them dirty, I've got 14 days to return them and get my money back, 30 days to return them and swap them. So like I told the guy, I've got to get shoes. But so far, these feel great. Switching from the zero drop, no issue. These, not as wide of a toe box as Ultras, but they're not causing me any problems. So we're testing that. The windbreaker. I brought a different tent. I brought my Gossamer Gear the One tent, but teaser for next week, I've got another new tent, because that's what I needed, on the way. But I'm really trying to nail down a light tent that I'm not really worried about the weather. I'll talk more about the Gossamer Gear tent, probably do a separate video on that. It's a good tent. We'll talk about that separate. But for now, we're just going to cover off some miles. I'm also listening to a podcast. I'm trying that whole thing out, see how that keeps me focused and not really worried about how my legs feel or anything like that. We're just going to do some hiking. When I get to a spot where I'm going to stop for lunch, I'll bring the camera back and let y'all know how it's going. All right, this is just a really pretty spot along here. I'm down in like a valley here, coming up soon on what they call this rock shelter area out here. And then I'll go up and keep going. But I've gone 2.5 miles in about an hour. I kind of like this, listening to this podcast thing. I don't even really pay attention to it. But feet are doing good. shoes are finally dirty, but no pain whatsoever. I will say this windbreaker, this thing's fantastic. As far as like my temperature, it's 45 degrees out here. Now that I'm down here, there's really no wind. I can feel like I'm sweaty, but it's no different than like if I was just hiking in my sun hoodie, where if I was wearing a rain jacket, I'd already had to stop to take this thing off. Like I'd have been too sweaty and clammy. But now that I'm stopped, there's a breeze, I'd be cold. So this thing's fantastic. I'm happy with this so far. But yeah, so far so good. Slammed a couple energy chews. I've got some electrolyte mix in here. Really trying to kind of stay on target with trying to treat this more as if I was trying to hike 20 miles in a day. That's ultimately what I'm trying to build up to, is to be able to hike 20 miles. I kind of like it. I didn't bring a beer. I didn't bring a cigar. It's a little bit of a change, but I'm already kind of curious with the time I'm making. By the time I get to where I'm planning on camping, I don't even know how early it'll be. That's the update. We're gonna keep hiking. When I get to this rock shelter area, I'll stop, take the pack off, probably eat something for lunch, and I'll bring us back for a little update. Alright, so this is the rock shelter area out here. It's pretty cool. I was gonna go sit under there and have lunch, but there's so much moisture dripping off, it's soaked underneath there. So, as you can see, and behind me, plenty of water everywhere. So, I'm not really hungry or anything. I ate some of those energy chews. So, now I get to climb straight up. The trail wraps around there and then just goes straight up that. So that's fun. So that'll be a good test for the shoes, but so far doing good, feeling good. So I'm just gonna push on. Eventually when we get up here, it flattens out and there's like a little pond. I may just try to find a spot to sit there and eat some lunch, because that's not really gonna work. So yeah, that's the update. All right, so time for a little bit of an update. So I'm at, I don't know, five and a half miles down this hill. Down here is the road crossing, where a lot of the times I've started some of these videos at a trailhead down there, and that starts the backcountry part of the low gap trail where you can camp. So I'm making ridiculous time. It's like 3:15, so I'll probably end up getting to where I'm gonna camp. I've got a few places I could camp. Like I said, I don't think I'm gonna go all the way to that shelter, because I really don't want to sleep in the shelter. I want to get this tent out and be another video for that. I don't think there's anywhere to put the tent, and I don't want to get all the way there, I realize I can't, and then have to backtrack. That'd be a little much. But where I camp is going to be kind of dependent on wind. Like, it's kind of windy. I'd like to get down on the other side of the valley and camp down there by the stream. This is kind of where I've done a couple of videos. It's just a nice spot, but we'll see how it goes. But 5.5 miles in, the Kakwa 55 that I did a couple of video on last week, is carrying great. I've seen some comments from people now that they're shipping these complaining about a squeak. Mine did it for a little while that last week walking around, and then it kind of stopped after I took a break, moved some stuff around. It stopped, and I haven't noticed it at all. So I think it's just the material, the frame, probably just got to break in a little bit, but it's fine. No slipping, no real issues with it. I think the windbreaker is a little slicker, so I've had to tighten it a little bit more, but no discomfort, no problems with my hips, no pain on my shoulders. It holds the weight well. I mean, I didn't weigh this stuff, but it's probably, with food and water, 25 pounds, because it's gonna get a little cold. It's gonna get a little below freezing tonight, so I brought a heavier sleeping pad, the Nemo Tensor, instead of the Uberlight that I had in there the last time. Canister stove instead of my alcohol stove, and I never know how much fuel is in the cans, so I brought 2 fuel cans. But anyway, it's carrying great. So just a little bit of an update for those of you who are interested, who are looking at this pack. Doing pretty solid. So I'm gonna keep rolling here, figure out where I'm gonna camp, and I'll probably bring this thing back when I get to camp. All right, well, we made it to camp. Same spot I've camped at a few times here lately. There's a fire ring, sitting log. I put the tent right there. There's the water. The wind is kind of coming from that way, so it's blowing across. So I can just put the foot end into the wind on this tent. That's the best way to do it. Ground's basically flat here, so shouldn't give me too many problems doing that. Yeah, so I'm gonna get the tent out, get it pitched up, and get some shelter. And I need to charge this thing. But we covered off basically 7 miles in just under 3 hours. So I tried to be diligent and stop at the timer every time on my watch that I stopped to take a break, but I'd stopped and filtered water for like 5 minutes and forgot, and then got a phone call this last mile and stood there for 10 minutes just in place. So anyway, I'm good with the pace. That was fine. No issues with feet or knees or anything like that. Like they felt better in these shoes, so that's a win. But I'm gonna get a home set up, charge this thing up. I'll bring it back in a little while. All right, we've got our home set up. Got my shoes over there drying out in the sun. Camp shoe extraordinaire. I'll never lose these. So I wanted to order some Crocs for camp shoes, just to have something to be able to take those trail runners off, give my feet a break when I'm at camp. And these ones were like half price on Amazon, and they were the only ones that I could get shipped like next day. So I got bright yellow, although I kind of like bright colors like that, so I'll never lose them at least. But got everything set up. There's the pack. Durston Kakwa 55 did great today. Gossamer Gear the One tent, which this has always been my go-to ultralight tent, which you can see. I mean, huge vestibule, tons of space on the inside for gear. You'll see when I get the pad in there. For the design of it, you can kind of see how the trekking poles arc out, and I'm going to do more of a full featured video on this. But it's a cool tent. Well, the sun's going down behind the trees over there. It's nice here. I've just been kind of hanging out, listening to the water rushing. Just hanging out, listening to the water rushing. I'm an idiot, and you know, I bought this flex tail tiny pump that everybody raves about, and the first trip I tried to take it on, it didn't show up in time. I got use out of it on the adventure hiking trail, and then this trip, go to use it, it's dead. So luckily I have the charger for it, so it's charging. And I tried to wait, but it's taking forever to charge, so I just used my mouth and blew up the Nemo pad. So I didn't bring the inflator bag because I have the pump, so idiot. But just kind of hanging out. Everything's all set up. Got the 20-degree enlightened equipment quilt in there. Got the pad all set up. Changed into my lighter. Changed into my warmer clothes. It's about 7 o'clock now, so I'm gonna climb in the tent here in a minute and I get under the quilt and figure out dinner. I got the old Mountain House chicken teriyaki with rice, so it's a good classic. So I'm gonna have that for dinner. Got some hot chocolate in there I'll have too, and just kind of hanging out. It's a nice night. It's cold. It's supposed to be in the 40s most of the night, and into the 30s overnight, and like early in the morning, 5-6 a.m. like below freezing, but then come back pretty soon once get warm again once the sun comes up. So we'll see. But it's cooler down here next to the water. I guess I knew what I was getting myself into, so that's where we're at. I'm gonna hang out, get in the tent. I'll bring you back when something exciting's happening. Oh. All right, in the tent now. Now I'm getting hot. Ugh. In the tent, got the quilt on. Had to take the down jacket off. It's too hot for that. There's a breeze out there that's pretty darn cold, so just getting out of that breeze has helped a bit. But just kind of hanging out. Got stuff charging. I love the space that's in this tent. This thing's for a one-person tent. The Gossamer Gear, the one, gives you quite a bit of space. I've been hanging out in here most of the evening, and I have no complaints, that's for sure. So I think it's time to make some dinner. Dinner tonight, Mountain House chicken teriyaki with rice. It's a pretty good one. Let me move my bright yellow Crocs, which I'm out here just testing gear for this 100-mile challenge. Bright yellow Crocs are a win for sure. Sorry, try to reposition here. There we go. The bright yellow Crocs are a win for sure. Pack did great. The Durston Kakwa pack, I like it a lot. I think that's going to be a winner and a pack that I might actually keep for a long time. I've switched out backpacks so many times over the years. I think I might have actually found a keeper. The Brooks Cascadia 16’s, solid. I had no foot pain, no knee pain. Just the zero drop on the Ultras, maybe just my body doesn't like it anymore. I don't know. I don't know if I did something or if just my body maybe just changed. I don't know. Probably getting older. But so far, those feel really good. I don't miss the toe box. I thought I might miss the wide toe box. From the Ultras, but I guess on the 16’s for the Cascadias, they made the toe box slightly wider. It's wide enough for me. It holds my foot in place better than the Ultras, so my feet don't slide around. So that's good. What other new gear did I have for this? Oh, the Outdoor Vitals Nebo Windbreaker. That thing's amazing. I think I said it earlier. I used to I'd wear a rain jacket if I was cold, because I don't ever unless it's in the 20s. I don't really ever want to even hike in this thing. I mean, this is the Melanzana fleece. There's obviously other ones, and they're breathable, but I still just end up being sweaty. So in the mid to high 30s, 40s, 50s, if there's just a chill in the air, I just throw my rain jacket on, but then I just get super sweaty, and it's just a pain to stop and take it off, and then you get cold again. That windbreaker did awesome. Like I said, I got a little sweaty hiking up and down hill. I mean, it's to be expected, but it's way more breathable than the rain jacket. I never felt clammy. It was just kind of like I was wearing a shirt and sweating, and I could stop for breaks, and it still did its job. It'd dry out. I mean, I'd stop and took a couple 15-minute breaks. It'd be dry by the time I was done, and off I go. That's a good piece of gear, so I like it. So for dinner tonight, like I said, I got the Mountain House I just brought my Optimus Crux light stove. So most of the time I just take canister stoves. I have the little BRS one if I want to be super ultralight, like you saw in my adventure hiking trail video, or if you didn't see it, it's in there. That one, there's no wind protection to it. It blows the flame around everywhere. It's not the most efficient stove. It's cheap. They're like 20 bucks on Amazon, and they weigh like an ounce. And I will say, I mean, 20 bucks, I've had that stove probably 5 years and used it a lot up until the last year or two, pretty much exclusively. And it still goes. It's either all on or all off. There's no real control of it. So I like having one that, yeah, I sacrifice. You know, the Optimus Crux light stove here is a couple ounces heavier. I think it's 3 ounces. But it's got a little better control. It's a lot quieter. It does a little bit better if there's a breeze. I like that. And then, of course, I have the Jetboil Mini Mo. I've shown that in videos, too, if I'm doing more elaborate cooking or I want to bring my skillet or something like that. So most every one of my trips, it's a canister stove. They're just easy. It just makes things simpler. And primarily what I do is the boil in a bag meals for dinners. Yeah, there's trips where I take real food and do that stuff. But if I'm actually hiking, trying to cover some miles, most of the time I just do that. Depends on your style. You know, if you want to carry a steak in a frying pan and peppers and onions and be the backcountry chef, then do it. There's the gear for that too. Just depends on the trip for me. But that's what I brought for dinner. I'd prefer the Peak Refuel ones. They're usually higher in calories, higher in protein. They taste better. Like this one, for the whole packet, which it says is 2 servings, but they ain't 2 servings, is only 480 calories in this one. That's not a lot, especially if you just covered off 18, 20 miles. Where are we at here? 84 grams of carbs. It's only 23 grams of protein, which is not a lot. A lot of the Peak Refuel ones are 40. So, like I said, I prefer those. This is just what I had. So it'll get the job done. So I'm going to boil some water and make dinner. And, yeah, maybe find something to talk about then. All right. 1 2/3 cup. It's such an awkward amount of water. Usually with the Mountain House ones, you want to go slightly less than what they call for. Just throwing that out there. Now we just let that boil. I think we might be there. All right, there's the finished product. Chicken teriyaki with rice. Yep, we'll see how it tastes. Yep, that'll work. So I'm gonna eat this, clean up some stuff around here, and I'll probably bring you back. I'll probably have a hot chocolate here in a little while. I'll bring you back for that. All right, got some water going for some hot chocolate. I got some Lando Lakes cocoa, French vanilla and chocolate cocoa mix. So we'll see how that tastes as soon as that water is done boiling. I got the Flextail tiny pump / lantern rocket in here, finally charged. So this thing puts off some light. Goodness, I finally have good nighttime lighting in here. But dinner was good. I could have probably eaten 2 of them. But that was good. I'm just kind of hanging out. It's cold. It's a lot colder than I thought it was going to be. So we'll see how that goes tonight. I make a yawn. But yeah, I'm just kind of relaxing. I'm going to drink this hot chocolate. Watching the videos, doing some editing. Trying to make this make sense. But most likely, I'm just going to drink this and crash out for the night. So I will see you in the morning, unless anything exciting happens. See you in the morning. Well, good morning, everybody. Whew. It's cold. I get out and get the food bag and stuff, but it's, I don't know, they said it got down to 29 or 30 degrees, and that was in town. So it probably got much colder than that around here. It definitely feels like it did. Definitely some condensation on the tent. You can kind of see it where I started wiping it a little bit. That's just part of it with a single wall tent. There's not really anything I can say about that. That's just what you're going to deal with. But I got a little pack towel I can wipe it with, but really, you know, there's not even a huge reason to worry about it. I'm not that worried about it right now. I mean, I keep bumping this part with my head. I could wipe that down, but that's just part of it. It's gonna be sunny today. It's gonna be sunny today. Once it warms up, I'll open this door up too and let some air circulate through here and kind of dry it out. But I camped right by water, so I mean, as far as trying to avoid condensation, I didn't really do anything to avoid it. I slept with both doors closed. Like, if I was really trying to avoid it, I should have left one of those doors open. But that's just part of it, you know. I don't worry about it too much. This tent's big enough I can get away from the walls. I didn't really... I didn't really run into them much. You know, my one concern, because there's no mesh venting around the sides, be condensation running down the walls and dripping. There's a couple little drips down there at the foot. Nothing really at the head though, so I guess it's not really a big deal. Nothing on the sides where it could run down the sides. The sides are dry, so I guess that's good. Yeah, so I'm gonna make some coffee, get a warm drink in me. That's happening. Get the stove out. Hey, little fuel can fits right in there. Fingers are cold. Hands don't want to work. Get some water. Sticker bottle. See, the Durston sticker. People freak out about those. I'm ashamed to say it. This one's from the pack. I'm pretty sure, well, I know my tent came with one. I think I threw it away by accident. Don't kill me, Durston people. All right. Come on, stove. I could crank that thing up higher. I just think it's kind of a waste of fuel. I don't turn it up stupid high. All right, drink mixes out. I tried to record. I don't know if it'll pick it up or not. I don't know if it'll be loud enough, I guess I should say. There were some owls last night going crazy with each other. I mean, it had to have been at least 3 different owls. It sounded like they were in a tree, like right above my head. It was crazy. Going with Starbucks this morning, not messing around. I know the last video I did, ironically here, basically this exact spot where I'm laying, I said the only instant coffee I'd ever do is those pour overs. Well, I wasn't thinking that obviously that requires you to have a separate mug every time, and I don't always have a separate mug. A lot of times I just bring the Tokes titanium pot. It's a 750 milliliter one that works as a cup. Just one less thing you got to bring, you know. No, those mugs don't weigh a lot, whether you have the collapsible ones or I have the one made out of a beer can. It doesn't weigh a lot, but it's just more stuff, you know. You try to be conscious of what you're taking, what you need, what you don't need. I don't need an extra cup. I'm not eating out of this or anything. Just boiling water. You know, I get mad every time I look at this coffee to go buy it, which it's getting more and more expensive. It was $9.99 for this instant coffee, which at first it almost made me put it back. It almost made me put it back and say, nope, I'm not doing it. And then I remembered how crappy Folgers instant coffee is, or the other options that you have. They're just not good. And then I thought, well, if I go buy a coffee from Starbucks, even a small one is like $3. I'm really only paying like $1.10 for one, so oh well. And it's definitely worth it compared to the other ones. It's like $3 for a thing of 10 of them. This is much better. And it's warm right now. Just warming my hands up. Yep. See, it's worth it now. I was mad earlier. I was mad when I had to buy it. It's worth it now. So for now, I'm just going to enjoy my cup of coffee, listen to the woods, stare at the woods, just kind of hang out. And then I'll figure out what I'm going to do about breakfast, if I'm going to eat or not. But for now, time for coffee. Well, it's a pretty morning. Just letting the tent kind of air out some, listen to the creek, drinking my second cup of coffee, staring at my bright yellow Crocs. Nice morning. Just taking my time, probably no breakfast. I'm just gonna drink this other cup of coffee, finish packing up, got the sleeping bag put away, got the sleeping pad put away, pillow. So, change out of the warm clothes, back into my hiking clothes, throw everything into the pack, just trying to let a little sun hit the tent and dry it out. All right, we have cleaned up camp where the tent was, got everything packed up, back in the Kakwa pack, still just as comfortable as it was yesterday. I got the melons on, which I think I said while I was walking yesterday. I typically don't like to do, but I go a little bit here and then go up. Once I get up, there's a bench up there. I'll stop there and get a bar out, have breakfast, and I'll probably take this thing off. If I was hiking all day and camping again, I wouldn't be wearing this because I wouldn't want to get it all sweaty. But the Melonzana does dry really, really fast. But I'd just be wearing the windbreaker and dealing with being cold to start. But my feet are kind of numb, so I'm gonna at least do this hill in this, work up some heat, and then when I get to the top, I'll take this off, put the windbreaker on. But for now, time to get walking. It's a beautiful day, blue sky. I think we're finally on the edge here in Indiana of warming up for spring, so that's good. So possibly my last sub 30 degree night camping for a while. I'm not too sad about that. Not too sad about that. So we're gonna get walking. Once I get up there to the bench, take a break, probably break this thing back out. But for now, I'm just gonna enjoy my walk. Just got to the top of the hill here, about 1.5 miles in on the day. And this is where the Low Gap Trail and the Tecumseh Trail split. The Tecumseh Trail goes off that way, probably another 35 miles is where it ends. We're going this way to the car, but just stopped, took off the fleece. You know, it was getting a little warm, put the windbreaker back on, had a quick snack, mixed up electrolyte drink. When you're out doing this stuff, for one, if you're hiking and you're borderline uncomfortable, whether it's you need to take a layer off, you need to put a layer on, something's in your shoe, whatever it is, your pack's not comfortable, stop and fix it. Like, I've hiked with people who just try to push through it. They're wearing too many layers, they're getting hot and sweaty, but they just keep going. Or something in somebody's shoe, their sock is bothering them, whatever it is, they just keep going. Maybe it's you did what I did and forgot to get your electrolyte mix in your water before you started hiking and thought, nah, I'll make it till lunch. I don't want to dig my food bag out. Stop and take 5 minutes and fix it. I've never regretted taking 5 minutes to stop and fix a problem ever when hiking. I have regretted doing the opposite. You know, just pushing on, saying, I'm not worried about the electrolytes, I'll just drink water. It's not the same. You're out doing stuff like this, you're exerting a lot more energy, you're sweating. Regular water just doesn't do enough to keep you hydrated. Trying to walk with something in your shoe, even a tiny little pebble, just stop and fix it. You know, I did it on the adventure hiking trail. That's how I got behind one of the days. I was not gonna walk with something in my shoe on that trail. Getting all sweaty, don't do it. Just stop and fix it. So, finishing the hike, I got about 2 miles to go. Just beautiful weather, it's warmed up, probably 45, 48 degrees. Finish this hike, and I'll catch you at the car. All right, well, made it to the top of the last, what's the little climb? This last like 2 mile section of the Low Gap Trail is just this, kind of a gravel road. So there's like an easement, people have property over here. So it's not very exciting, but this is why I started at the trailhead that I start at. So you get, you know, mainly all woods walking your first day. And this is just a nice little finish. So, whew, sorry, big hill back there. I came all the way up it. But just to recap, because I don't know how much I'm going to edit out. I didn't intend on this being a full trip video, but it kind of became one. So we'll see what I edit it to. But as far as gear for the 100-mile challenge for Outdoor Vitals, I love the windbreaker. The Nebo Windbreaker is solid. Even today, you know, it's only 45. I just have the Altitude Sun hoodie and then the windbreaker, and I'm perfect. There's a pretty good breeze going now, and it's fine. I can tell it's a little more breathable, so it's just doing a good job. The Brooks Cascadia 16's, so far so good. They feel great. I was mainly concerned about the toe box. No problems whatsoever. No knee pain, no foot pain. I think the addition of the Crocs for camp shoes was a big help. What else did I have? Oh, the Durston Kakwa pack. I love this thing. Just like the Durston X mid tent, he's hit a home run with this one. Super comfortable. Barely even know I got it on. Carries a lot, and it's under 2 pounds for the 55 liter. So I have a hard time even figuring out when I would just carry my frameless pack, because you can kind of see it. Hang on. You can kind of see but not very well. I'm able to roll it down pretty good. That's the height of the frame. So I guess summertime, overnights, that may be where I go with the frameless pack, but anything more than an overnight, I think this would be the pack for sure. Really, I think I got most of my gear all squared away, and that's pretty much every week leading up to this. When I can, I'll be out on trail, whether it's just day hiking with a full pack or overnight trips. We'll just see what happens, but kind of kicking around the idea of possibly switching and just doing the full 100 miles at one time instead of the stacked. Kind of thinking about doing something like a 100-mile section of the Superior Hiking Trail. I've always wanted to do that. I've done Isle Royal, and it's just beautiful landscape everywhere, and this would be kind of the same thing. So this might be a good time to go knock a third of that trail out. So we'll see. I figure I can hike these trails in Indiana anytime I want. They'll be good training, I guess. So with that, I'm gonna finish this little half-mile jaunt to the car, try to make something out of these videos. I'll talk to you on the next one. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, if you want to follow this journey or just see gear reviews, things like that. Leave some comments for me. I'll talk to you later.